My name's Matt. I'm an alcoholic. We're going to open this meeting up with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. For those who ain't never been here before, it's going to be a little bit longer than a second to kind of clear our thoughts and hopefully have a new experience with this step to try to take something back out into life. John Boy going to take us out when he's ready. All right, like I said, my name's Matt. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. This is not an education. This is like a step study. I'm not here to educate anybody. I don't believe you can educate an alcoholic. I don't believe education is what we're lacking. I think a person who's too fucking smart won't get sober, but a person who's really dumb might will. You know, and I'm just up here to share my experience, strength, and hope, and not in here to persuade you, argue you, or like fire your sponsor or fire your sober living community or whatever fuck you're in. You know, the thing is, if you look in the early days, if you don't know of AA history, Bill W. went through the steps in 30 days. Dr. Bob took people through the steps in 8 hours once you was out of detox, that your brain has been cleared of the physical craving for alcohol or drugs or whatever you prefer to call. Clarence Snyder took people through the steps in about 2 days. All right, so let's say for instance, now this is back in 1934 to 1939 that a lot of these events and experimenting. Because like these people just didn't come up with this fucking theory of how to work the steps with people. There was a lot of, like this big book is just filled up with nothing but mistakes. And when you look at your experience of trying to help a drunk, you know what it's full of? Mistakes and some success. You know, it's not like, hey, you know, I read this and this sounds really good. Why don't you put in that application at once? It don't work like that. It's like, stuff got really bad over here. I came to believe that you had something new, and I made the decision to do it. Take away alcohol and drugs, stuff got really bad over here in my personal relationships, in my head running. I came to believe that maybe if I do some more things that you're doing over here, maybe it'll get better. Through mistakes, you know, through turmoil of myself. So the reason why I say that, with all the technology and all the treatment centers and all the other places we have today, my personal opinion, we have a lot of different things going on today. We have people coming to Alcoholics Anonymous before they're even ready to be in Alcoholics Anonymous. We have people trying to work the steps before they're even ready to accept the steps. I was one of them. Yes, I related to the allergy and the mental obsession at 17 years old, and I finally understood what my problem was. Now, keep in mind, 3 years I was bouncing in and out of AA, just going to meetings, 90 meetings, 90 days. I lied to sponsors because they told me to read the whole goddamn book. They wouldn't work with me until I read the whole goddamn book. Now, you telling it to a person who has a second grade reading level to read a book that makes no goddamn sense to them. A lot of times I end up rolling a blunt on it. You know, by the time I started reading it, I ended up believing a lie again. So say for instance, so nowadays, AA is so like, it's out there. There's meetings, there's different things like that. But you know what don't really change for an alcoholic? Is the willingness. Their willingness still vanishes. Period. Care who you are, potential alcoholic, woman alcoholic, man alcoholic, transvestite alcoholic. There's something happens to a person like me that's an alcoholic. After 2 or 3 weeks, I begin to lose willingness to work the steps. And I say this with backing in my personal opinion and belief that Bill and Dr. Bob and Clarence Snyder and Ernie G and all these other old timers that was co-founders, they knew what they was dealing with. They knew that person coming out of town's hospital, we need to get them to T. Henry Williams in Akron. We need to get them to the upper room. Let's get them through the formula if he's serious. That's like that. That's like the thing they asked you while you was in detox. Do you believe in God? They said, no, we'll fucking leave you. Well, I'm willing, but then you get on your knees and you offer your life to God and you're about to write. You know? If we felt you was desperate. I say this, and we're going to get on with our step 4, and we're going to get on to a few other things, and then we're going to engage ourselves up to step 4. I say this, though. Clarence Snyder was the 42 guy that got sober and started the first AA meeting, and when Dr. Bob and Bill W. worked with him, they said, look, bro, we're not successful with alcoholic people like you. Why is that? Because he was young? Y'all ain't nothing but screwballs. That's what they said. You know? I mean, hey, man, we've been laboring, but we're just not successful with people like you. But if you're pretty desperate, we're going to try. And that's what I think we felt in hell with some people. It's like, are you willing to go to any lengths? Not just on fucking Monday. What are you willing to do? And what are you willing to sacrifice? You know, and we're not, I know for me as a sponsor, and I don't know about anybody else, I'm not here to direct your life. God does that pretty good. I can't direct my own life. I'm not here to tell you what job and what sober living. My job is just to get you connected to some kind of power bigger than you, and for me to be doing some shit where you could hopefully get involved in. That's it. Because if not, then you're just a duck in the ocean. And then it's a matter of time for the obsession return. So in this meeting, before you get thrown out there in the wash, we believe in following along and paying attention and being considerate. If you want to talk, I will sit my white ass down and you can come and talk. We'll listen to you if you want to just cut up and disrespect everybody. So, you know, we believe in that, and that's why we have these meetings. You got meetings all over Baton Rouge. Used to be a lot, and there ain't that many now. Well, you can do whatever you want. You can cut up. You can take selfies. You can finger poke. You can do all kind of stuff, man. And we'll never kick you out, and we'll never shun you, but we ask for some respect, and we ask you to respect the people next to you because they may not be here. That person might go home and shoot heroin and die. You know, this might be the last time you see that person. You know, we believe in sponsorship. If there's any men who need a sponsor, raise your hand. Any women need a sponsor? Okay. Two people raise their hand? You need a sponsor, girl? So on top of that, we have another thing that we're dealing with in 2020 before we get to our main talk, or moving towards that, is that we have an AA meeting. There's not a lot of places that have AA meetings. You know, yeah, we live in Baton Rouge, or you live in Denham Springs, or you live wherever you live, but if you go to other states, or maybe New Orleans and other places, there's not many meetings going on right now. You know? And if you're anything like me, you take the unity away from me, I die very fast. You know, people can't keep me sober, but I also can't get out of self with just talking to God in a corner. You know, because this thing goes pretty good, you know. So we're super grateful for that. And I don't know how long this is going to last with the restrictions. You know, we're only supposed to have a certain amount of people. We're supposed to be social distancing. Supposed to be wearing masks. So what did I do? Do I say, we can only fit 50 people in this building and just turn away the rest of the drunks? That ain't fucking right. I'd be goddamn if we do that. Hell, we might hang out. I might as well just go to prison like that old preacher on the news. So I give you this to get to the final talk to moving in the direction, is take that, and when the big book was first published, they wanted all these people to buy these big books for about $3.50 a piece. None of them ain't had money. They've been fucking drinking. And then they wanted all the A members to buy stocks in it. That was some other shit. We don't have enough time to talk about that. But like, so you're suffering alcoholism, drunk, running down the road barefooted, whatever your case is these days, or paying him money. And I'm like, I got this book for $3.50 to shake you back. What do? Do you give them a book? Because they was giving away more books than they was selling, right? And it's the same thing with the people. You're like, what do? You turn away drunks, or do you give them books, or do you not make no money, and you just, I don't know what to do. So, we got to be careful who we talk to and things like that, and make sure we pick up our trash. And, some of us older members who started this place here, the church member walks in and you see us just pick up the fucking board and get in our cars, that means that we're going. That don't mean that the dope man pulled up, okay? So y'all might as well just pick up your coffee and we're just gonna leave we're not even gonna give them the chance to tell us anything because we already know what's coming, We're just screwed. It sucks. It's like imagine the pressure that we're dealing with. We're dealing with we want to listen to these people and we got to follow their rules because we're renting a building and we don't want to get them in no trouble. But then we're also dealing with people who may be dying of alcoholism. What do you do here? Fuck if I know. Let's get the fuck out of this. So anyway, we're going to page 34. So we're going to do half of step 4. We're going to talk a little bit about 1, a little bit about 2, and roll into 3 and go into 4. But we're only going to do half of 4. And next week we're going to do fears and sex. And then that's going to finish up writing the inventory. And then the following week will be integrity.
For those who are unable to drink moderately, the question is how to stop altogether. We are assuming, of course, that the reader desires to stop.
Desire to stop. You have to want to stop. Now, while we're using it on the streets, none of us want to stop. I mean, we want to stop, but we don't want to stop. Does that make sense, okay? This is not this ain't no putting no corner hold on you. Or suicide note with hashtag your ass into treatment. Look, if you don't want to stop, don't stop. I understand you're homeless. You'd be surprised. How many people are just homeless? And it's okay. That's the whole grinder that we have in some of these different places. And I have to say this, but you go to this certain sober living house and they want 5 meals a week. This person just needs a place to live, man. They don't want to get fucking sober. I mean, they want to get the shit out of their body and shake back. Who doesn't? But one day, we're going to what? Go fishing, and we're going to drink that beer. We're going to smoke that joint, and everything's going to be like, I was bad all back then. Yeah, you know what I mean? Right now, shit just kind of bad. I got strung on these pain pills with this heroin, and I was all on the race there. But, so that's like a whole nother subject here. But keep that in mind, we assume that the guy that you're meeting with desires to stop. Do you want to stop? Do you want to quit drinking for good? They didn't say one day at a damn time. They said for good. Are you done for good? I know you can't think about how the hell you're going to stay sober for good for the rest of your life. That's impossible. But are you done for good? Are you out of options? Because if you have any more, then this shit ain't going to work. Keep reading.
Whether such a person can quit upon a non-spiritual basis depends upon the extent to which he has already lost the power to choose whether he will drink or not.
Some people could quit on a non-spiritual basis because they still have the power of choice in whether they're going to do it or not. Alcoholics Anonymous got people like this in the room. They could quit because they still have the power. Imagine doing one Lord tap and being like, my sober living house about to kick me out. Let's go to Braddock. What the fuck? I relapsed a lot. And I ain't gonna lie, I might relapse and come in AA and pick up a desire chip. Man, I gotta stop this shit. I know bad shit about to happen, but it's over with. And I'm gonna take whoever the fuck comes with me, Because there ain't once, my mama used to always, I used to hate this shit. My mom's an Alcoholics Anonymous. She used to always say, I remember when every time I realized, she's like, I'll be coming in there bitch all bug-eyed like that. She'd be like, you done woke the demon up. and you already been up for a couple of days and shit. You're like, What? A demon, or she used to call it a monster. You done woke the monster. I'm like, what fucking monster? What are you talking about? But today, you know what? It makes sense. Once you dump that first one in, you set off that phenomenon craving. You might not have to do a whole 8-ball right then, but we are going to say that we have to have this thing to be okay. Now, we're only eating 3 Lord times a day and working our asses off. We haven't went down the deep end yet. So maybe these people was full of crap about this physical factor. But meanwhile, everything was going good and my life was going good. And I decided to dump 1 or 2 in my body or just use some kratom. That later put me on this vicious cycle again. Keep reading. Many of us had plenty of character. I'm not saying, we some selfish, dishonest, inconsiderate people, but we had plenty of character, huh? We're the only person that would start off as an employee and become a manager within a week and think we could conquer the business. We're the only people that will work our butt off and get fired more than Saturday Night Live, but continue to get hired. I mean, this is my record, okay? I don't know about anybody else, We had plenty of character. Keep reading.
There was a tremendous urge to cease forever, yet we found it impossible.
Impossible? Okay. Keep it.
This is the baffling feature of alcoholism as we know it, this utter inability to leave it alone.
No matter how great that is. No matter. Many of us had good reasons to why we should leave it alone. And we really wanted to some points to leave it alone and let it go behind us and become this person that goes to work. If you ever done any chemicals like me who made you stay up all night and you're like coming, leaving one of your friend's house at like 6 o'clock in the morning and you're in traffic. Like, who the fuck is in traffic right now at 6 o'clock in the morning? Why is all these people on the fucking road right now? You know what I mean? But it's a horrible feeling. The sun's coming up. You know that you could drive now, that the sun's coming up, you're going to blend with traffic, and all them niggas are drinking their coffee, hair still standing up. You're like, they ain't been in bed in 3 or 4 days. Your skin's crawling. But, that's the thing. The ability to leave it alone no matter how great the wish is. That's what sucks. Pick it up on page 50.
Greater than themselves, to take a certain attitude toward that.
So that's what the people was telling you in step 2. Whoever identified you with this problem that hey, I drink like that. Hey, every time I got sober and swear to God I wasn't going to do it again and went to 90 meetings, 90 days and never got a sponsor or a home group, I believed a lie again and dumped that back in my body. And I always give away some trivial reason to say, hey, I'm just going to smoke pot. Hey, I'm just going to drink Natural Light. Hey, I'm just going to smoke Mojo. Hey, I'm just going to take Suboxone. Hey, I just need some methadone. Hey, I went to the dentist and they give me Tramadol and they give me all this shit that later put me back on this fucking vicious cycle once again. So the people I came to believe in, because in my mind I think I'm different from everybody else. So as they came to believe that a power greater than itself, keep reading.
And to do certain simple things.
Certain simple things. Writing inventory. Trying to help other people. Writing at night. Seeking prayer and meditation. Very simple things. Not easy. Simple. There's a difference between easy and simple. Very, very big difference. Keep reading.
There has been a revolutionary change in their way of living and thinking.
The way of living and their thinking. We're still bozos, but there is some change of thoughts. Keep reading.
In the face of collapse and despair, in the face of the total failure of their human resources, they found that a new power, peace, happiness, and sense of direction flowed into them.
There's no way that the happiness or the peace or direction was going to flow into them if they still think that things is going to make them happy. Think about it. Completely powerless, bankrupt, bedrock, then we come to believe in something. Something is going to make me feel okay in my own skin. See, this is the problem. I believe the job, hanging out with good people, the women. I make a decision to use them people to fulfill my instincts, and then I get resentful. And they don't do what the fuck I want them to do. And I'm not happy. And if they did do what I want them to do, as soon as I got them to do what I want them to do, I don't want them no more. So anytime I come to believe that this person, I'm going to wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this guy, he's doomed to fail me. Ain't that a bitch? So we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves. We made a decision at a turning point to abandon our instincts. That hopefully God can fulfill these holes, these wounds, these sores as we're about to read. Keep reading.
This happened soon after they wholeheartedly met a few simple requirements.
Wholeheartedly. Like hardcore shit. You know, not like 4 through 9, motherfucker, 10, 11, 12. Wholeheartedly wrote that shit out, looked at it, didn't look too good, don't know how I'm going to get rid of it. Went and told you I was wrong for what I'd done, and went out and tried to help somebody else and looked at myself. Keep reading.
Once confused and baffled by the seeming futility of existence, they showed the underlying reasons why they were making heavy going of life.
Check this out. Leaving. Keep reading.
Leaving aside the drunk question.
The drinking question. Leaving aside this. Leaving this aside. The cool thing is, if you're sober for a week or two, you're no longer craving this shit. Now, somehow we keep believing a lie again, but what's dominating us and sucking us back out the door? What's keeping us from coming to believe that this power is going to restore us to sanity? What's keeping us from going to meet with that sponsor? What's keeping us from meeting with that sponsee? What's keeping us out of the fear, the pride, and ego from making them amends? Haven't made a... Read step 4. Get out of that. Read step 4. Can you quote it? Searching. Hold on. Reread it loud. Pause. Made a searching. What the fucking first thing we do? We're making a searching. We are investigating something here. That something's not wrong. Something's not right with us. So we got to investigate that. More. We could wish to be more. We could wish to be physically comfortable with ourselves. We could will them things with all our might, but we didn't have the mores. As much as I wanted to be a good son and a good father, I was incapable of carrying that shit out because I put all my dependency into them people. And they always left me at the end. So now I'm trying to find out more, right from wrong, truth. Trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with me. Only a dumbass alcoholic like me has to go and write this shit out to figure this out. Now, in my mind, when I'm sober and I'm sick, I think I have all these good qualities and everybody else is more to blame. To be honest and standard to you, looking at my years of sobriety, I'm still seeking more. I'm still seeking, trying to be truthful, which is truth. Which is character of being a fucking father, a son, a boyfriend. See, if I said I was a good father and I was a good son, then there's nothing else to achieve. I am them things. So you know what I'm not making? No fucking progress. I'm a human being just like everybody else, including all these other people in this world. We're just humans that make mistakes, and that our job is just try to love people. I know it's hard. I know it sucks. Sometimes. Not all the time. That's a miracle today. When I used to hate everybody, and I couldn't stand people. I thought everybody was out to fuck me over, period. You know? No wonder why you asked me to sponsor you. Go to 63. I like forget about that shit, bro. Such a relief, you know, today. After the third step prayer, we thought well before taking the step, making sure we're ready for our last week of abandon ourselves utterly to Him. We find it
very desirable to take this spiritual step with an understanding person, such as our wife, best friend, or spiritual advisor. But it is better to meet God alone than with one who might understand.
So it's better to meet God alone than one who misunderstands Him. Yeah, that's a Friday night I heard so many step 3 experiences, and it was a beautiful thing in that home group. And I really love that. And I had my own third step experience. But the cool thing is I did a lot of third step prayers of writing them, going through the steps to 5 times in the past. And I did them with a sponsor. You know what I never made a decision to do? To turn nothing over. So I figured I'd write an inventory, feel better, shake back. God is so fucking good. To build shit up, to tear it right back down again. Because I never wanted to change. I always figured everybody else needed to change. And now I actually seen in all them inventories in the past, yeah, I can see I'm selfish, but hey, I don't want to get rid of it. Yeah, well, you know, that's the whole fucking deal here. Like, when you write out an inventory, and that's what's so amazing. I remember being 17 years old, spiritually sick, hated every motherfucker that came in. And people, there's a couple guys in here kind of knew me growing up, and they can tell you that. But the thing is, like, I went in that motherfucker hating people. 17 years old, I had 22 pages of resentments at the Hope Center. I was in that inventory for 8 hours. I came out high. Of course I did. How could you not? You hated that many people. Now me, I hated everybody that came in contact, everybody I sold drugs to, everybody I hung out with, all my parents, all the people that put me in mental hospital. My mom put me in a lot of mental hospitals, quarter holes on me. I hated the police, I hated narcotics agents. I mean, come on. All these people would just leave me alone, it would be great. And when they leave me alone, now I'm mad because you left me alone. So, I say that because when I wrote the inventory, the name went away. I seen where I was selfish, dishonest, inconsiderate. So I felt the shit went away. But I was a long way from actually getting rid of the roots that continue to allow that shit to snowball. So the wording was quite awesome. As long as we expressed voiced it, expressing it with the reservation without, you know, that's the step 3 decision right there. Like, you go home, you talk to God. Let me know if you really want to do this or not. Like, that's what I could really like. That's why, I mean, we got to get out of this, but that's why, if these things is done to the best of your standard. Now, this is, as you've been sober, and if you honestly made a step 3 decision, this is coming more and more to light. But to the best of your standard is going to determine this. So, take for instance, I need to get rid of a session. I don't want to change. Everything's fucking great. I have no malady. I'm delusional. I believe in Woodlake or some people that are doing some other shit. I'm doing a whole bunch of fucking non-AA shit. You write out an inventory. You do out of power. You feel better. You're not going to change, man. You're not going to change. Why would you? You think that I write inventory every 2 months for nothing? You think that I used to do inventories fucking 3 or 4 times a year with my sponsor for nothing? You think I just wake up one day and be like, man, you know what? Sounds pretty cool to go do an inventory. No, because with all the abundance of me trying to help people, I still get sick, and I think I 10-step that shit, but it snowballs, then comes fear, then comes guilt, then comes sex to make me feel better. And next thing you know, I'm in a whole fucking malady in one caboose. And if you're anything like me, that's how we operate right there. One resentment, one dude snatched on me, one person pissed me off in the house, I click up with the house man, we bash that bitch and get him out. Never let off of him, keep going, anything he does. You'll see that a lot, you know? Little form of trouble, you know? So, next we launch out at the very bottom on a course of vigorous action. This was step 4.
The first step, which is the personal house cleaning, which many of us had never attempted.
Well, many of them never attempted. We never decided to clean our soul. Everybody else needed to be clean. Keep reading.
The word decision was a vital and crucial step.
What does vital mean? Very important, life dependent. So my decision, or what I made a decision to do in step 3 was vital, means life dependent, very important, crucial step. Crucial means I'm asking you, it's one thing I asked you to give up drugs and alcohol. The only thing that made you feel okay to talk to a female, made you a part of anything, I'm asking you to give that up. And now I'm asking you to give up something you lived your whole fucking life on, which is self. It's a fucked up place. Because how am I going to talk to girls? How am I going to do this? How am I going to work? How am I going to not make myself feel good by blowing people down or fighting people in parking lots? How am I going to do anything? How am I going to not sell drugs? How am I going to do all this shit to make me feel okay, man? It's a fucked up place. Because you're like, you got to have enough belief that maybe that this guy might have an answer to this problem. Maybe. You could take a new guy, and if he says that he has found the answer as soon as he walked out the treatment, count the days he's going to fucking use if he's a real alcoholic. Because he's no longer seeking. He already found the solution. He's already sober. What are you looking for? You already found God. Why are you looking? They talk about, and stuff too, they're talking about they have gained access to a power. So the question is like, how do we keep access to power? How do we stay inspired? How do we stay pumped up? How do we pick up the phone? How do we sacrifice our pleasures to get in the book with you? It all comes from a success. If you don't have no success of sacrificing your life to them people at midnight, of course you're going to want to play PlayStation, play on your phone, or go to bed early. But if you know the freedom you're going to get from it, why else Bill talked about that shit? For the alcohol fell in the largest spiritual life through work and self-sacrifice, he may not survive a certain trial and low spots ahead. Because he knew when the low spots came, he knew by going to talk to that drunk at Towns Hospital was going to save his fucking ass. But just think about it. I was in and out of the rooms of AA, and I never had none of them results because the motherfucker never was doing it. He sponsored everybody at the meeting. He only gave me one in 1 year. Whole nother resentment. Keep reading.
It could have little permanent effect unless it once followed by a strenuous effort to face and be rid of the things in ourselves which have been blocking us. Our liquor was but a symptom, so we had to get down to causes and conditions. Therefore, we started upon a personal inventory. This was step 4. Business which takes no regular inventory usually goes broke. Taking a commercial inventory is a fact-facing and a fact-finding process.
Fact-facing with another person, fact-finding by writing it down. If facing it with another person was good enough, I'd just go see a counselor, wouldn't I? But something about writing it down and looking at it. See, look. If anybody ever went on vacation or something, and before you go on vacation or go in your past, you do a whole bunch of shit you don't supposed to be doing, like wash your car, like redecorate your living room or something like that. That's what I do. I do work on a whole bunch of shit that I don't even supposed to be doing. Why? Because I'm an ass backwards person. The same thing goes with my resentments. It's all ass backward. See, when you write out your resentments, you go put a name and what the hell they done you, and then we're going to look at the makeup of what they affected. Then we look at the wrongs that we done. Now, this ain't how it really went down. But in our eyes, we so backwards, we think that this is where it started. Well, it really started by me being in fear, seeking myself, inconsiderate for where this guy's at, being dishonest with myself or with God, because I can't see. I'm always dishonest with myself. People always put non-checks on this. I love this. They'd be like, well, I didn't lie to him. I didn't. If you could see the truth in this shit, you wouldn't be sitting here right now, motherfucker. Because that's what I failed to see is the truth. That's why we're writing the inventory. Step 5 is finding more of the truth of ourselves. We only see so much of the truth. You're never going to see all of it. Imagine you living your life. Me and Tevin always talk about this. I'm stealing this from Tevin. But imagine living your life and you can see everything that's going to happen all the way to the moment you die. You can see your next move and everything. Wouldn't that suck? You know how much you've tried to fix that? So there's only so much of the truth and so much of the things we can see in our life, and it's just a journey. Hang on to the fucking ride. Try to help somebody else, And self-seeking, where I'm being selfish, using these people to fulfill these instincts because they're sore, they don't do what I want them to do, and then comes the fucking name. Keep reading. If the owner...
It is an effort to discover the truth about the stock in trade.
The truth. Keep reading.
One object is to disclose damage or unsaleable goods, to get rid of them promptly and without regret.
That's really what? To get rid of it without proper regret. I have never felt these resentments have did nothing but kill me my whole life. Why do I continue to harvest them? Why do I continue to use people to fulfill these instincts? And it goes all the way back to the belief systems and the decisions of me using these people, that me going to manage my life and think that these people is going to fulfill these instincts, and I make a decision to use them, and then comes the names of the spiritual malady. Keep reading.
If the owner of the business is to be successful, he cannot fool himself about values. We did exactly the same thing with our lives. We took stock honestly. First, we searched out the flaws in our makeup, which cause our failure.
Your instinct, first we searched out the flaws in our makeup, your instinct, which cause our failure. People are always like, what the fuck? How does that cause failure? I just fucking told you. I just told you. You run in self, your makeup, use them people to fulfill your instincts. And you know what's sad as I sit here and say this shit? That you can't be perfect. You can write this shit, you can look at this shit, you know what you're still gonna have? There's only a few areas you're gonna be in, guys. And that's either lust, ego-driven motherfucker. And if you're not in that, you're gonna be a resentful motherfucker. And that comes with judgment. So pick your battle. Hey, I bounce back and forth. 3 or 4 days, I might be lustful, and I'll be out of that, and next thing you know, I'm resentful. And then after 4 or 5 days, I'm like, God damn, I can't live like this, and I'm back over here. Everything's great. 18 points later, you know, like, and I'm like, I don't like the way this makes me feel. Oh, I'm so happy at work. God damn it, I wish these people would hurry up. You know, there goes the resentment. Like, when can I be okay? When can I be okay? Most likely when the motherfucker's sitting in my living room, keep reading, or I'm sitting up here. Wow. Keep going.
Being convinced that self, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us. We consider it as common manifestations. Resentment is the number one offender. Oh. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else.
It's like sneaky, you know, resentment. Every time I ever read that before, it always made me think about like a resentment, like sneaking up. I'm about to beat the fuck out of man. Yeah. Like, really? And then it took me a while. It took me a lot of mistakes to really ponder on this. I'm like, I hated that part. I always thought that was like, if I don't tell you I hate my mama today, I might get loaded. It don't work like that. See, what happens is you get mad at that person, and 2 things are going to happen. You're going to isolate yourself and build cases around everybody, or you're going to get mad at that person and swap it in you and say, I don't give a fuck about them. That's like an ego trait. Self-pity was the other one. But both of them is deteriorating you from actually doing what you think God wants you to do today, period. You see? And think about it. Okay, so you don't like this group. You don't like this person says this. This person's talking about me. He makes me feel uncomfortable. So you build a case on him. Your sponsor tells you to do something, maybe pisses you off because it's got some truth behind it. What do? You run. Then you start calling all these other people to get all these different experiences until you get the one you fucking like. But so now you're building all these cases. That's what's cool, like, is you stay sober long enough. I have to give you that. I could call John. I could call Steven. I could call Ken. I could call Kobe. I could call Tevin. I could call Frank. I could call Mike. I could call anyone, Kelsey, and I could tell them about whatever resentment, whatever loss, wherever I'm inconsiderate, whatever the fuck I got going on at the moment. And all of them is going to tell me the same thing. And not only are they going to tell me the same thing, they're going to actually tell me where they're falling short in the same shit. Because, you know, sometimes it's just okay to be like, you're not the only duck drowning in the ocean, guys. If you ever had a sponsor ever told you 10, 11, and 12, you know, oh, you're spiritually sick. What kind of shit is that? I remember my sister telling me a little story real quick about a little sponsee. She was telling her about something my sister was, you know, that's what we do. Me and my sister's kind of saying. We don't just sit here and tell you about what you should be doing. We tell you about what we're doing. And first of all, still like in this meeting, I'm going to tell you where I'm falling short. You get that fucking shit out the way. Make you feel comfortable. And my sister was telling her little sponsee this shit, and her sponsee looked at her like, you are very sick. Must be a women thing, because I never had a guy tell me that. If I did, I'd be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? What you, Jesus Christ, and popped off that fucking cross around here? You gonna sponsor me? You know, like, what up? You know, like. Yeah, so resentment's the number one offender. What happens is you start getting resentful at your sponsor. You start building cases on them. You be like, oh, they don't recognize me no more. Oh, they don't acknowledge me for picking up the chair. All these things start manifestation and start kicking your ass right out the door. You know? I remember being in a home group with my sponsor, and him and his wife were saying some things. She was part of the home group. And they pissed me off, bro. Oh, I was mad, bro. I told Tevin about it. So what I do? I'm mad at my own goddamn sponsor. You know what I did the next morning about 9 o'clock? Call him. Yeah, that's what I said. Say, bro, I'm mad at you and your fucking wife. And I did what? I got some humility out of it. I need to learn how to respect other people's viewpoints and their shortcomings or wherever they're at. It ain't always got to be what I believe. So, hey, I have to respect it for it. It still pisses me off. You know, like, in Alcoholics Anonymous, people who's bored has a lot of time to talk about other people. But see, people who's busy working with a whole bunch of motherfuckers, we don't have time to talk about that shit, man. Come on. Move the fuck on. Like, so-and-so. Okay, good about so-and-so. What the fuck is that going to do us? You want me to pray about them? Like, what the fuck? I have somebody occasionally tell me that, and then they tell me, you're no fun. Why you're such an asshole? I'm like, what the fuck do you want me to say? You're telling me about so-and-so, and give a fuck about so-and-so right now, okay? I'm trying to run a paint bin and trying to squeeze these goddamn sponsees in mine where I'm trying to not pray or jack off in the goddamn bathroom, okay? I have enough shit going on in my goddamn life. You know, how can I be an instrument to this sponsee? Yeah. I had a sponsee call me today, and he told me his shit, and I didn't even want to tell him my shit, because I was like, man, I ain't wasting time on my shit. I'm sick of boring. I don't want to ruin the hope of what waits for him for the future, you know, or like, everything's going good right now for him, so I'm like, I'm not going to tell him that. Then he like calls me and tells me this shit. I'm like, motherfucker, yeah, this is where I'm at too, motherfucker. You know, but I was hoping that we found a new piece of the puzzle, but still no. Still back to seeking and writing and just enjoying, maybe they're just thoughts, you know, keep reading.
From it stem all forms of spiritual disease. For we have been not only mentally and physically ill, we have been spiritually sick.
Spiritually sick. When the
malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically.
Your resentments deal with the restless, irritable, discontent. Your guilt, shame, remorse deals with the 8 and 9 of the people we harm. This guilt and shame remorse can combo and use people to fulfill our instinct or try to spend too much time with buying nice things because we fucked them over. Okay? So back to self-reliance because we're in fear and we are going to fix these things, which has a lot to do with the amends process. What stops a person from making amends is fear or pride. Something that we lack of, you know? So either we have a lot of fear about how we're going to make it, or we have a lot of pride that we don't have no humility or where we fucked over these people. And it don't even bother our soul yet. If you stay sober, just keep walking. Keep going.
In dealing with resentments, we set them on paper.
Column 1.
We listed people, institutions, or principles with whom we were angry.
Anybody ever listening to an institution? Government? Livingston Parish? Probation fucking parole? How you going to replicate me and then, like, still hit me with fucking payments while I'm locked down? And then, fuck it. But the thing is, when I went to jail for that forcible rape, they replicated me, and I had to still make payment. So when I got out, and they're gonna let me off parole, I started making my payment, but I was behind $1,500. So when I got off, I went to pay them. Now, they done changed so much shit. Like I said, I've been on parole since 2016, and I got out of prison around 2007. I had like buku years of parole. So the thing is, I'm sitting there paying this. They done changed the West pay, back pay, all G pay, and all this shit. And then you got to pay this like $8, $10 to give them money. So I'm getting off parole. I'm going to make my financial amends and drop $1,500 on you, right? Oh, sorry, we cannot receive that much money. You have to send us that much money 4 times, which calculated up to about $40 or $50. I'm like, I'm going to deduct that from the money I owe you. If you cannot take, and I could be wrong for this, and I don't feel no type of way, you know, but if you cannot take my fucking $1,500, and this is what I was wrong, and I owe you for this from back parole, you know, to get off parole, but you tell me I got to send 4 different payments, which is going to come up to about $60 to $80, you could take that out of the money I owe you because you cannot take my $1,500. There's no office I could go to. You won't take a cash money order. You got to send it through line. Get the fuck out of here, man. I might as well just be laying down. Depending on the government, take care of me. I guess y'all just gonna keep robbing me, right? Like, I understand I was wrong, but like, I paid my dues. I have the money. Oh, $1,500. I don't mind paying $10 to give you the $1,500 either. But I'm not going to pay 5 different cases. Unless you was going to lock me up, then I had to bite the horse. But other than this was just for my soul on GP. And I felt comfortable with it. Keep reading.
We asked ourselves why we were angry. In most cases, it was found that our self-esteem, our pocketbooks, our ambitions, our personal relationships, including sex, were hurt or threatened. So we were sore. We were burned up.
That's the favorite part about this. Listen to it. Sore and burnt up means a wound. Means you have a battle wound. So as soon as that guy leaves you, cheats on you, hurts you, threatens to leave you, that wound comes up. And it recaptures of what them people done me. And I go like, back to fear and frightened. And then considering like, nah. You see? So what happened with a wound is like when you wake up running late for work. And then about time at the end of the day, you cussed out the boss. It wasn't that you was mad at the boss or some random guy you cussed out and told him to catch your yard at fucking Circle K or something, whatever your case is. I done had a few. But it's not that you was mad at it. You was already disturbed before that. And what happens with a wound is them people continue to wrong me. So if he's got a big sore right here, like he got shot, and I'm going to be like this. What up? What up, bro? Hey, bro. My boy. What up? Eventually he's going to blow the fuck up on me, right? And that's what happened to me, is I got these wounds of people messing over me, and I continue to protect myself. And I continue to build walls where people can't get close to me, and if they do, I'm going to fuck them over. And I'm not going to let you in because I know you're going to hurt me. I already resent you before you came here. I already picked you apart by watching you. That's the worst thing about Alcoholics Anonymous. I can sit in a room at Alcoholics Anonymous and pick everybody apart and don't even say a word. My biggest resentment is in AA. See, I do a lot of AA, so my biggest resentment is sitting in a goddamn random meeting and a motherfucker wants to talk the whole goddamn meeting and playing on his phone and then wants to goddamn share. I just want to be like, why don't you shut the fuck up? You mean to tell me 10 mental hospitals, 3 treatment centers, a shotgun in my mouth, a rope to hang myself, fucking with suicide note, that I came to goddamn Alcoholics Anonymous to watch you shop for News on Wheels and then tell me about your goddamn day? You gotta be fucking kidding me. I literally died to get here and thought I was different from everybody. And if I'm gonna do all that shit, I can sit at the goddamn house. This is supposed to be a sighting. Am I wrong? I think this should be a sighting, huh? Well, you ain't even shot no dope today. Maybe. Some of us. But goddamn it. Hey, yeah, we maybe fucked up some things. We maybe cussed out some people. We maybe built cases on a ball. We maybe slept with that girl. We're going to have to make amends to her later. But the crazy thing is, hey, bro, for the grace of God, we're sober today. And the beautiful thing is that maybe these people might rediscover life too. How could you not? See, you only get excited about that shit when something happened to you. And when something like, it's not, look, God, I understand. Your head's running, you're bored, you're sick of Alcoholics Anonymous. I've been there. Another goddamn meeting watching the goddamn clock. I've been there, okay? When there's no power, I don't give a fuck how many people's in that goddamn meeting. It goes by the power. See, you can bullshit a lot of people, but you can't bullshit a drunk. I go to all kind of education. You can't, I listen to buku speakers, but you can't like I feel shit in my heart. I don't go by how much you know of that goddamn book. I know a good bit too, and I can't even read the motherfucker. That don't matter what the fuck you know in that goddamn book. I'm going by what you saying and what I feel in my heart. Does that make sense? You know? It's like, you know, they have a very few people that will come around every once in a while and hang out with us, and then they have the nerve to ask us, like, y'all really be staying up to midnight? You think we gonna come in here and talk about this shit to be cool? To be cool? This is not cool. Cool would be playing PlayStation right now, rubbing on my old lady booty. That's some cool shit. You know what I mean? You know? No. We do this shit. Why? Because without this shit, I'm thinking about committing suicide. During Corona, I could spend all the time with my old lady. I went to fishing every goddamn weekend. And you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to commit suicide every week almost. About 2 or 3 days a week, I had thoughts of just wanting to fucking die. So you take this guy for coming in to Alcoholics Anonymous and this guy getting sober, I'm nothing. Like everybody look at me like, oh, Matt Remengoz ain't shit without you. That's the truth. Without you coming in, showing up, trying to help somebody, and I'm watching you rediscover life and watching you get your kids back and watching things take off and watching you mess over them men or women and you making amends and you perseverancing through it. That's the beautiful thing I like to see. But I'm nothing without that. Just like me, Tevin, and all of us, we can all hang out all we want. Hey, goddamn, we read books all the time together. We're going to read a book tomorrow together. You know? And we read a lot of books together. And we love it. It's a beautiful thing. But you take God from meeting with him, and you take God from meeting with me, and I'm just looking at this crazy-ass bodybuilder, and he's like, look at this crazy-ass fucking dude from Dillon Springs. We don't even match no more. But the bond of us trying to help people, the bond of us trying to deal with the resentments of how can we be patient with our wife? How can we be patient with our girlfriend? How can we be patient with our mama? How can we be patient with our employees that don't show up on time? How can we be patient? That's not at you, Steve. I'm going to give him a reason to call your wife. I was converting it to Tevin, okay? But, you know, that's what bonds us to hold us together. The byproduct of why we could talk for over 30 minutes is because we got this newcomer over here. We got this guy. We don't know how to help this guy. I got this guy calling me with all kinds of shit. I had a guy call me with some shit that I went through, and I didn't even tell him. He gonna know tonight. I ain't gonna mention the name. But when he called me, I was just smiling because I was like, well, at least the shit I went through was for nothing. That means I fucked all that shit up and went to jail for this long to be here and be like, it's okay, bro. I've been there. Hang the fuck on. Come to my house. That's all you can tell. You can't be like, well, you know what? You was pretty fucking selfish back then. You know, I ain't gonna do you no good. The selfish deeds are done, bro. Meanwhile, your world's falling apart at your seams, and you need to come sit on my motherfucking couch, maybe. That's all I can do is just love you. Come hang out. You know, I'm just playing PlayStation. Come hang out. You know, I'm here. Call me. Call me anytime. You know, and that's what bonds and holds us together as these low spots come. Boom, get that motherfucker out of the ocean. Come on, man. You know? Oh, man, y'all don't understand. Boo, 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 boo. I had a sponsee one time, or a grand sponsee. They ain't no longer my sponsee. He had a problem going on in his life. I kind of knew what it was, but I wanted him to confess it to me. You know, and he's like, look, I'm like, let's just say, man, what's going on? Woo, woo, woo. You know, because I already heard about the problem through the grapevine. See, we ain't here talking about the problem. Now I'm praying about this guy. Now I'm about to call and check on this guy. So the purpose of talking about this guy was good. It wasn't like I just talked to this guy and never fucking called him, never prayed for him. Well, that's just pointless. That was stupid. So the word on the street, guy's in a low spot. What up, man? Oh, man, I can't tell you, man. This shit's embarrassing. I said, it can't be that embarrassing. He's like, oh, it's pretty embarrassing. I said, if it's more embarrassing of screwing some guy's wife while letting the guy suck you off, then don't even fucking tell me. He's like, no, it's not that bad, bro. He's like, this is what happened. So the reason is, people's like, God, that's harsh. But you use that story and you use that stupid ass experience that you totally regret and you don't want to tell nobody. But you're using that bitch to be like, come on, what's going on, bro? Let's get it out there. Let's look at the truth in it. Let's talk about it. Let's not harbor it and think that nobody understands and be like, man, nobody went through this shit before. Bro, there's some people that go through some fucked up shit. And if you're walking with God to the best of your ability, shit is going to hit the fucking fan. See, God is not something that when you grow spiritually, everything's great, I'm growing so spiritually. It don't work like that, man. Think about it. Since the early times of Christ and all the disciples, all this shit went through hell. So I'm trying to figure out, like, your walk, what are you struggling with? What keeps you from spending the time with them? We're going to go to the resentment prayer. Read a 66 on them. We gotta cover that. It's a light that
It is plain to see that a life which includes deep resentment leads only to futility and unhappiness. To the precise extent that we permit these, do we squander the hours that might have been worthwhile.
See, that we squander the hours that may have been worthwhile. It's on 66, guys. I'm sorry if I'm dyslexic. I said something backwards. So, that's where I'll be thinking about that. What if this person do this? If this person would change it? 66? 66. My dyslexic's coming out. Keep reading. We got to move. We already have them houses. For long, they have the shit packed. And we had to get them in a sober living house. Come on.
But with the alcoholic, whose hope is in the maintenance and
Check it out. Your hope is in maintenance and what?
growth of a spiritual experience.
What is maintenance? Take that car, take your soul, and you do nothing to it. What's going to happen in that car? What's going to happen in that bedroom if you never clean it? See, your body requires things to survive, believe it or not. So, and maintenance, doing the maintenance and then doing the growth to understanding the things that block me off. Keep reading.
This business of resentment is infinitely grave.
Why? They are fatal. Wait, keep going.
That it is fatal.
When your heart is...
Harboring such feelings, we shut ourselves off from the sunlight of the spirit. The insanity of alcohol returns when we drink again.
Mental sessions based on self. Maybe I could do one, maybe be different. Nobody understands me. I'm just doing this. I done built my life up. Everything's great. If I could just get the car, I done got the car. It's all based on self, man. It's all based on what the fuck you're doing. Keep reading.
With us, to drink is to die.
To drink, to die. Keep reading.
If we were to live, we had to be free of anger.
If you want to live. You ain't got to live. You could die. If we were to live. Cool. So you ain't got to live. You can live or die. If we were to live, we had to be free from anger. The grouch and brainstorm are not for us. They may be to do with luxury for normal men, but for alcoholics, these things are poison. My dad could afford to be angry at people for weeks or months. For me, it shuts me off very, very fast. This was our course. We realized the people who wronged us.
Perhaps spiritually sick.
No, we did not like the symptoms. The people who wronged us in column 1 in the causes and the way that it disturbed me by stepping on my instinct, they, like myself, is sick too. I don't need to run around the goddamn room and say, hey, you know what? These people are sick and I'm going to pray for them. Yeah, they might be sick. But let's look at why are they sick. Because they're just fucking like me. If you look deep enough, if you can't stand that person, he is just like you. Or he's doing some shit that you've done before and it disgusts your ass. And you know where it leads. So they, like myself, are sick too. I don't need to just run around, oh man, they're sick as fuck. That did me no good. Yeah, you can fuck me over and I'll be like, oh, he's just sick. I mean, yeah, he's sick, but he's sick like me because now I'm fucking pissed. I'm thinking about slitting his tire, peeing on a toothbrush. I'm thinking about sneaking him out of the meeting, like I'm thinking about all kind of shit. He don't even know I'm mad sometimes. That's even more worse. Like, keep going.
We ask God to help us show them the same
The
tolerance.
resentment prayer, right here. And look, we just kill me. So the thing is, this is the resentment prayer. Now, look, God, next week we're going to hit the fear prayer. Next week we're going to hit the 3-sex prayer. This is preparing you for step 10, period. Like, these are the prayers I use when I write in the morning and I'm mad about my old lady or whatever the case is, or my employee or my boss or whatever's going on, or the customer. I'm writing this and I'm going right back to here to ask God to help me show them the same tolerance, pity, patience, and chill for a grand sick friend. Read it, Austin Michael. These are principles.
We ask God to help us show them the
Show.
same tolerance.
Show is a fucking action. So I'm preparing myself in the morning to ask God to help me show them same, means I want my dad to show me patience, the tolerance for not showing up for work and being a fucking bozo. I want people in Alcoholics Anonymous to forgive me when I fucked up sponsorship and when I was a bozo sleeping with all kind of women and cutting up and running through 3/4 houses. I want people to show me patience, the tolerance. But I can't show this person this. Oh, he done been to 18 houses. I don't give a fuck how many houses he's been to. He's suffering alcoholism. How can we help him? And maybe he don't see it now. That's fine. But you know what? We'll still be here. As long as you don't die. Then we're gone. And then use just this little card that hangs out with me in my book, if they give me one. Keep reading.
That we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, this is a sick man. How can I be helpful to him?
Well, I'm close with this. So why the hell would you want to be helpful to someone that screwed you over? That's the $1 million question, right? And I remember praying for this for many years. And I remember God telling me one time I was mad at this guy in his sober living house, and I'm reading this prayer, and I talked to my sponsor, and and God finally told me, he said, you know what? You may not be able to be helpful to all people. You may not be able to be helpful to him. But you know what all you're thinking about is him. And a lot of times if I'm mad at my old lady, there'll be a three-way call going on with Tevin and Kelsey, and the next thing you know, I done vent to them. They shared their experience, and now we're on talking about how somebody else we can help or how we can be more productive. The object is not to sit here and talk forever about your goddamn problem. The object is let's talk about how we can help somebody else. Let's reduce that self-centeredness and get us back to power, sanity, and truth, which is God. Ain't that cool? That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing. When you may not be able to be helpful to that person. But if I'm mad at such and such because he won't stop sex texting in my goddamn meeting, then it destroys my chances of being helpful to you. So I spent all this time trying to convert this motherfucker who's going to be already doing kratom. It does me no fucking good. And I destroy my time of really trying to put my energy into somebody else. And it's ego. Hey, God, I leave you with this closing. When you get mad at them motherfuckers, you want to convert them. It's all your ego. You want to argue with them. Oh, well, that didn't work for me. Oh, I'm just going to church. Well, church never worked for me. Well, go to fucking church. That's what I tell them nowadays. My ego done got wore down. I'm just like, go to church. Oh, I want to try this. Try that. I hope it works. And that means you won't have to call me as much. You know, like, follow your fucking heart. But when nothing else works, you know what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be sitting here talking about the goddamn big book. And I'm going to be shouting out I have a fucking answer that works. And when you're out of solutions, you know what you're going to be looking for? The answer that fucking works. All right, love y'all. Let's close with the Lord's Prayer. Don, bud. Would you have a moment of silence for all those who are suffering out there? Those who may get to die and never get to experience the grace that God has given us? Who has all knowledge and power?